Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about drum fills and how I go about creating drum fills. Now, at first I was going to script out a video and know exactly what I was going to play, make the pattern and then make a couple fills to show at the end of it. But I figured it'd be more fun and maybe a little more educational to all of you to do it on the spot. So I've got my PO32 tonic right here. I just like using the tonic to orchestrate drum stuff because it's a pocket operator. It's got the very basic 4x4 sequencer grid, and it's got some pretty simple sounds on it thanks to the free patch from Vic Magnificus. I don't know if I can plug that patch enough. It's free. Just go download it. I'll put a link down below. We're just going to use the kick, the hi-hat, and the snare. Let's see. I'm going to tune the snare up a bit. Tighten it up. There we go. So I'm just going to make a drum pattern here, and then we're going to talk about how we can use fills to either turn the pattern back around on itself, or if we were going to move to like a B section or something like that. Don't write your fills before you write your A and B section or whatever your main groove is going to be, or you need to have a groove before you want to put fills in, just because I like the fills to have some relation to the groove, if that makes sense. So they all need to kind of speak together. If you go back and watch my video about writing drum patterns that answer and ask questions, ask and answer questions, that's the right way to say that, it'll make a little more sense. But putting a fill is like the ultimate answering the question. So yeah, let's just come up with a drum pattern here. I'm going to make sure the swing is off. Select my kick. I'll put 2 there. We'll go do-do-dat, do-do-do-do-dat. Something like that. Like that. There we go. Let's get the snare drum. Awesome. Just right there, 2 and 4. Cool. So let's get our hi-hat. And we'll just cool. Now I'm going to copy this into slot 2. I'm going to make a little extended pattern. It's going to be 2 measures long, I think. So, let's see. I want to go back in. I'm going to take this kick out, and then we're going to leave it in on the second one. So this is what our pattern's going to sound like. I'm going to chain number 1 into number 2. This is no fill. So the 4th time through there, we're going to want to put a drum fill in there. So I'm going to once again copy and give us another fill to work in, or another pattern to work in. And we're going to leave the first half of this the same. So if you'll notice, I'm just taking the snare and the hi-hat out of the second half of this. So the first half of this pattern, the first 2 beats are the same. Except I took the snare all the way out. There we go. But anyway, you'll notice the hi-hat is still right here, and each time I played the pattern, we have it doubled up right here on this part. So I want to use that as kind of the start-off point for the fill. So we'll go back to our pattern we're going to use as the fill. And let's see, you can hear my rabbit drinking, sorry. I'm going to put another one here, and I kind of want it to riff off the doubled hi-hat right there. So we're going to play back and forth between that doubled hi-hat and maybe the snare drum. I like to leave the bass drum out of fill sometimes when it's already pretty heavy in the normal pattern, just to change it up a little bit, and it kind of makes it feel like the pattern is starting to float, just kind of hanging there, floating there in limbo, and then the bass drum is what's going to ground it once we get back to the beginning. Okay, so let's see. Let's put a snare drum right here on the E of 3. And then we'll do the hi-hat again. We'll keep that hi-hat consistent right there. And we'll put 2 more at the end too. Let's see. I really like that snare drum where it is. Let's put another one right there. And then let's try one like right here. No, I don't like it there. How about right here? There we go. So that can be your fill. And it's kind of understated, which I like to do with my fills, especially if this was earlier in the song. I like to understate the fills because it gives it room to grow later in the song. Are you quite done drinking over there? Dear Lord, sorry. Anyway, I also just realized I was not wearing the mic. I just had it sitting on the desk, so the audio might be weird for the first half of this. But yeah, I like the fills to be really understated in the beginning of the songs, or, until we get towards the end. That way, it gives us room to grow. If we start out at 10, we can't go anywhere, but if we start off at 2, then we can keep going. So let's chain pattern 1 into pattern 2, then pattern 1 again, and then pattern 3 with our fill. Awesome, right there, very cool. So let's change that fill again. Let's copy the pattern again with the fill in it. Let's just put in 4 snare drum notes at the end. So it was sitting like this. We're on the snare drum right now. We have right on 4, the E of 4. We're going to put it on the and the of 4, and then we're going to take out the hi-hat. Now let's listen to what this fill sounds like. Now it sounds a little more like a traditional fill where we've got some a quadruplet of 16th notes on the snare drum there, which a lot of people, when you think drum fill, you think about some drummer going like ridiculously down the toms, which, yeah, that's a fill, but it's very overused in my opinion. So let's go pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 1, pattern 3, pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 1, then our new fill, pattern 4. Let's take a listen to this. So just by riffing on your main groove, you can come up with all sorts of variations that can work as fills. These would both be really great examples of how to turn the phrase around back into itself like we've been doing. What if we want to go to a new pattern? Well, first we're going to need a new pattern. So I'm going to go to our pattern, our main groove that we created, and I'm going to put it down here. So let's come up with a pattern. Let's say we want to go down to halftime. So let's go to our hi-hat. I'm going to take off that extra 16th that was right there on the of 2. Then we're going to go to our kick. We're going to go like that, right on 1, then the end of 2. And let's take that snare drum off of 2 and 4. We're going to put it right on 3. Very basic. Let's go back to our kick drum. There we go. Put one right on 4 there. And you know what? Let's actually take that off of 4. We're going to copy this into a new pattern. I'm moving kind of fast. Just you can always pause or ask questions if you need to. Then on the second variation of this pattern, we're going to put a bass drum right there. So again, ask the question, answer it. Here's our 2 new patterns. Awesome. So what if we want to go from something like this to this? They don't work very well together without some kind of transitionary fill in the middle. So how are we going to do that? So let's give a listen here to our first and second patterns again. So I'm going to do the first half of our fill is going to be in the double time, and then the second half is going to start to slide into that halftime feel. And once again, we're going to use those 2 hi-hats right there as our pivot point. So we're gonna go do 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 dat dat doom dat goom. So do 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 dat doom dat doom doom. And it's gonna feel like it's in double time, but once we add in the context of going to halftime, it'll all make sense. So let's go ahead and copy that pattern. We're gonna use that pattern for our fill, and I'm gonna put it right here with our 2 new patterns we came up with. So the hi-hat's good as is for now anyway. We're going to take the snare drum off the beat down here, and let's do our bass drum. So these are fine right here, the ones on the top beat. And we're going to take this one off and this one off. We're going to put one right here. We're going to go do 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 dat doom dat doom dat. Dat doom dat. And then we're going to leave one right here on the end of 3, or the end of 4, sorry. So let's go to our snare drum here. We're going to put one on 3 and on 4. See how that works? If we hear it in the context of our original pattern, it sounds like this. And it feels like we're still in double time. But if we hear it going into the new pattern, it works really well. Very simple, but it works incredibly well in my opinion. The important thing to remember is to put your fills in the context of your patterns. And another one of my favorite tips is to never repeat the exact fill. And that can be as simple as changing one note, but it just kind of adds an air of attention to your music, attention to detail, kind of makes it seem like you care enough to not repeat the same thing over and over. Like I said, even if it's just one little shift, that's a lesson I learned via watching Neil Peart and Rush play. You'll notice every time that they're playing a song, every fill is going to be just the slightest bit different. And he really likes to build. He likes to evolve and in some cases devolve his fills, which has had a huge effect on me. And, obviously plays heavily into the things that I like to teach. And I know that can be hard on a pocket operator because you only get 16 patterns, but with a little creativity and especially using the effects in real time, you can get some variation on almost anything that you want on here. So I hope this video has helped you with your drum fills. If it did, go ahead and leave a like on it. If not, you can leave a dislike on there too. That's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. I've got new videos coming out every single day. There's some fun links in the description. You can take a look at those. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.